As the sun painted the sky with hues of burnt umber and crimson, casting long shadows across the chaotic streets of South Jakarta, Amanda found herself ensnared once again in the infamous evening rush hour. Perched behind the wheel of her sleek black BYD, she tapped her fingers impatiently against the steering wheel. The relentless rain seemed to have descended specifically to torment her, transforming her luxurious electric vehicle into a metallic bathtub on wheels. Around her, the symphony of car horns blared like an orchestra tuning before a grand performance, mingling with the cacophony of motorbikes buzzing past, daring to navigate the flooded roads. Are they insane, or is this madness contagious? She wondered aloud, watching them weave in and out of the stationary cars. But little did she know that tonight's downpour was only the beginning of her watery ordeal. She glanced at her phone. 7:17 p.m., still no word from Benjamin. Hadn't he said he'd be home an hour ago? He must be stuck in traffic. Yeah, right. Traffic. What did he know about traffic? All he cared about was himself. The thought sent a familiar pang of frustration through her. Why did she keep hoping? Year after year, marriage after marriage, she told herself. Yet here she was entering her second decade of matrimony, still letting herself get sucked into his web of promises. The rain intensified, splattering against the windshield in a mesmerizing rhythm. Amanda stared straight ahead, her eyes unfocused. At that moment, she was adrift in a sea of memories, each wave carrying fragments of dreams she'd once held dear. Dreams that were as delicate and fleeting as the morning mist. Memories of her youth when she'd confidently envisioned her future self, a successful lawyer, a loving wife, a doting mother. A life where happiness would bloom effortlessly from the fertile ground of hard work and dedication. But life, like a mischievous jester, had danced to its own tune, leading her on a merry chase through unexpected twists and turns. And then there was Benjamin, charming, charismatic, and twice divorced. He'd swept into her life like a tropical storm, uprooting her carefully laid plans and replacing them with a whirlwind romance that culminated in a hasty marriage. They'd tied the knot within months of meeting. Back then, she'd been a rising star in the world of law, but after her marriage, she'd shifted gears, becoming a full-time homemaker. Her days were now filled with managing a household, shuttling her teenage son to soccer practice, and enduring the occasional passive-aggressive comment from her husband about leaving the windows open and attracting mosquitoes. Their home was a battlefield of unspoken resentments, and she was weary of the war. As the minutes crawled by, the rain continued its relentless assault. Amanda's BYD, once a symbol of her success, now felt like a gilded cage, trapping her in a labyrinth of waterlogged streets. The car in front suddenly lurched forward, jolting her back to the present. Taking advantage of the momentary break in the downpour, she pressed her foot down on the accelerator, eager to make some progress. But the moment she moved, the heavens opened up once again, unleashing a deluge that threatened to swallow her whole. She could hear laughter echoing from the car ahead. A group of young men, oblivious to the turmoil they were causing, were cruising along in a sleek silver SUV, their music thumping like a heartbeat trying to break free from its chest. The image of her teenage son popped into her head. Artie, her constant worry. Was he out with friends? Was he safe? Or was he out past curfew? Her heart raced as she pictured him caught in the storm, vulnerable and alone. Suddenly, the image shifted. What if something had happened to him? An accident? A robbery? Her blood ran cold. The thought, a foreign intruder in her usually calm and collected demeanor. Amanda forced herself to breathe deeply, pushing the panic down. "Don't be silly," she whispered to herself, her voice trembling slightly. "Artie's a big boy. He knows better than to stay out late in this weather." Still, she couldn't shake off the nagging worry. The rain was coming down in sheets now, blurring the city lights into a kaleidoscope of hazy colors. Street lamps swayed like drunken dancers, casting grotesque shadows that twisted and turned like phantoms. The sight of a lone woman driving in such weather was enough to send shivers down her spine. Each flash of lightning illuminated not only the rain-soaked streets, but also the turmoil in her heart. Her eyes fell on the clock. 8:34 p.m. She needed to get home soon. Her son would be worried. She missed the comforting sound of his voice, the way he talked to her about his day, about his friends, about the intricacies of football tactics. He was her anchor, her reason for pushing through the monotony of her days. She loved that boy with every fiber of her being. His happiness was her purpose, his worries her burden. The road was a river now, reflecting the neon lights of the city like a broken mirror. The water level rose with each passing minute, threatening to engulf the car. Panic welled up inside her, clawing at her throat. Was she trapped? Was this the end of the road for her? She fought to keep her voice steady, to quell the tremor in her hands. But the fear was a wild animal, its claws sharp and its teeth bared in a silent snarl. Then, through the torrential downpour and the deafening roar of the rain, she heard a familiar sound, the rumble of thunder. It was like an ominous drumbeat heralding the arrival of a tempest. Each clap of thunder shook the car, making the windows rattle in their frames. In the distance, she saw a flash of lightning, jagged and sharp like a searing pain. Then came the deafening roar, shaking the very foundations of her being. But amidst the chaos, a tiny flicker of amusement sparked in Amanda's eyes. She smiled faintly, a ghost of a smile on her rain-streaked face. Perhaps she wasn't cut out for a life of high-octane adventures, but damn, she sure was loving this unexpected detour. As the rain intensified, so did the play of emotions on her face, a silent film of resilience and quiet strength. And with a deep breath, she pressed on, navigating the flooded roads, embracing the storm,